Welcome to part 25 of Tutomania. After an eventful day of opening the tomb for the very first time, Carter and the excavation crew returned after what I can only think would be a sleepless night to really see what the tomb held. Arthur Callender was probably the first at the site because he was preparing to install an electric light system in the tomb. Though Carter's diaries isn't totally clear, it appears that Callender was installing it in the tomb that morning until about noon, when Lord Carnarvon and Lady Evelyn arrived to fully enter the tomb. His journal doesn't mention who opened up the second doorway, because if you remember, they actually sealed it up the day before. Carter immediately noticed the disorder of the chamber, which was later labeled as the antechamber of the tomb. From a first glance, there was only one room in this entire tomb, which is unlike any other tomb found in the valley. So they continue to believe that this might just be a royal cache, because this tomb had such an odd layout, especially that the passageway opened up to a essentially horizontal room. Let me show you a map. Very little tombs in the valley would have that first chamber be almost perpendicular to the entrance chamber. Usually the entrance passageway would open up to a continuously vertical but larger chamber. So when they could only see this room and no other rooms, they at first assumed that it might have just been a one-room cache. And because of the way that the objects had been kind of placed, and especially in the corner with all of the chariots, it just seemed like that this place had been looted and or ransacked or looked through, essentially. Obviously, so many objects were still there, but there was this just general air that somebody had been here before besides the people who had placed these objects here. Beneath this couch in the southwest corner of the room, they found some sort of hole. It's unclear if this was as large as it was when they immediately found it, or if this is slightly enlarged. Lord Carnarvon and Howard Carter shimmied down to take a peek inside of the hole and essentially found more objects strewn about, including blocks that had then fallen onto some of the objects from when this chamber was immediately opened. If you remember correctly from a previous lecture I went to, this was the original drawing of the tomb, but this lecturer pointed out that the boxes that had been previously sitting there perfectly fit in the section that led to the annex. So they might have actually been moved by Carter. The one thing that was really obvious was that they did not find a mummy. So check out tomorrow's video to hear Carter's mysteriously short journal entry and what he might have actually done with this passage that day.